Hey everyone, today we're going to tackle something that every Python programmer needs to know inside and out: how to loop through dictionaries the right way.
Python dictionaries are just so powerful for storing data. The best way to think about them is like a real-world dictionary. You've got a word, that's your key, and it has a definition, that's your value. It's such a neat way to keep related info all bundled together.
But here's the thing, it's one thing to put data in a dictionary, but how do you get it back out when you need it? That's where the real magic happens. So let's dive in and see how we can loop through them efficiently.
All right, let's start with the basics. Section 1 is all about what happens when you just, loop over a dictionary. We've got to understand the default behavior first.
And this is super important to get right from the start. When you write a simple for loop for a dictionary, Python automatically iterates over the keys. Not the values, just the keys.
So check out this example. We've got our dictionary, this dict, and in our simple for loop for x in this dict, that little x variable, it's going to become each key one after the other. First brand, then model, then year. Super simple, right? That's the default.
Okay, so we've got the keys, but what about the values? The actual data we probably care about. Let's look at a few different ways to get to them.
We're going to cover three main ways to do this. First, we can use the key we already have to look up the value. Second, we can use a special method called values. And third, there's another method called keys.
So remember our basic loop where x was the key? Well, we can use that. Inside the loop, we just say this dict in x. That bracket notation tells Python, hey, go find the value that matches this key. And poof, out comes Ford, Mustang, and 1964. But let's say you don't even need the keys. You just want the values. Well, Python makes that super easy with the .values method. You just tack it onto the end of your dictionary name in the loop, and it'll give you only the values. So clean.
Okay, so method 3, using .keys. Now you might be thinking, wait a second, this does the exact same thing as the very first loop we saw. And you'd be right. So why would you ever use it? It's all about making your code easy to read. When someone else, or even you 6 months from now, reads your code, .keys makes it crystal clear that you intended to work only with the keys.
All right, so we can get keys and we can get values. But the big question is, what if you need both at the same time? This is where we get to the really cool stuff, the most powerful way to handle dictionary loops.
I'm talking about the items method. And trust me, this is the one you're going to see all the time in professional code. Why? Because it is just so elegant and efficient.
Now look closely at this code. The magic is right there in the for loop. See how we have two variables, x and y? That's completely different from what we've seen so far, and it's the key to everything.
So what's happening here is a really cool Python feature called tuple unpacking. Basically, on every turn of the loop, the .items method hands over a key-value pair. Python then automatically unpacks that pair, putting the key into the first variable x and the value into the second variable y. It's just so smart. You get both pieces of information perfectly organized in one go.
Okay, that was a lot. We've covered a few different methods. So the big question is, which one should you actually use? Let's make it super simple with a quick guide.
Here's your cheat sheet. It's really this easy. If you only need the keys, a basic for loop is totally fine. Or you can use .keys if you want to be extra clear. If you only care about the values, .values is your go-to. But if you need both the key and the value together, then .items is your best friend. It's almost always the right answer in that case.
And that's the real takeaway here. This isn't just about making the code work. It's about writing good code. Code that's efficient, easy to read, and easy to maintain. Choosing the right looping method is a huge part of that.
So I want you to think about your next project. When you're working with a dictionary, which of these methods are you going to reach for? Because making that conscious choice is what starts to separate good code from great code. It can absolutely make all the difference.